everyone. Welcome to your virtual AC Day 1 tips on staying motivated and productive. Welcome. We are thrilled you're here and we are so excited to kick off the winter semester with you. We have a ton of exciting free events for you today, and all of the details can be found on the Algonquin College orientation website. And we'll add the link to the chat if we haven't done so already. My name is Bonnie and I'm with the events team at Algonquin. Before we get started, I'm just going to be sharing a few housekeeping items with you today. We do have live captioning in English for this event, and you can see the captioning icon located on the bottom of your Zoom bar by clicking the CC icon. Along the bottom of the screen, you'll also find a chat button. Feel free to use this feature to introduce yourself and let us know what program you're in. If you have any questions for our event facilitator today, you can use them in the Q&A tab along the bottom of your screen. So if you have any questions for Carole, you can put your question there. We will be taking questions at the end of the presentation. This session is being recorded and will be added to the Algonquin College orientation website by the end of the week. We would now like to welcome our event facilitator, certified life coach, Carole Blackburn, to lead us through tips on how to stay motivated and productive this semester. Carole will share some key tips on how to beat burnout and Zoom fatigue. So over to you, Carole.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bonnie. And good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy New Year. It's 2021. I'm thrilled, excited, and really passionate to be with you today, talking about all things motivation, staying productive, and hopefully share some really good key tips on how to beat Zoom fatigue, which is one of the key components, but also just to stay motivated throughout this winter in this brand new semester that you're launching. Really exciting time, and not to mention how you're going to be able to use all of these practices in all of your areas of life. So before I get started, Bonnie just had an intro. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Again, my name is Carole. I'm a personal life coach and a motivational speaker, and I also facilitate workshops like this, as well as my own. I empower people to ditch the overwhelm in life, rediscover their passions and purpose, help them get laser focused on goals, and create a really great sustainable plan to help them get through it. I show people how to take care of their needs so that they can show up better for themselves and everyone who needs them. So what you're going to expect in this workshop is we're going to talk about motivation. It's very easy to pinpoint what gets us motivated, but so today we're going to take a bit of a focus on when we experience the lack of motivation and how to overcome that and how to stay productive for yourself, and also to talk about, like I said, something like Zoom fatigue, which we are all facing. It's been a long year, as I'm sure you can attest to it. We're going to do a Q&A at the end, so please, if you have a notepad or something, just jot down your questions and we're going to go over them, and I'm going to try to address them as best as I can. And so for now, let's jump right into it. So let's talk about what motivation is to begin with. So motivation is the driving force behind everything that we do in life. From the moment you wake up and set into your daily routine, everything you do, every choice you make, and every goal you work on is fueled by motivation. And as we grow and develop in life, our motivation will change and adapt to where we are. So our motivation can be driven by money, by status, grades and academic achievements, and how we want to look and feel. So there are so many outside forces vying for our motivational attention that often we can be doing something for all the wrong reasons. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. There's a natural flow to motivation, and then there's not. Every person has struggled with motivation or a lack thereof several times through life. Like, you're probably going through something now, or maybe in the past several months you have maybe facing something, but I just want you to know that you are not alone. Okay, we all struggle with motivation, and that's something that we want to, when we feel that lack of motivation, we can easily turn that into self-blame and self-doubt. It can show up as procrastination. It could show up like a lack of energy. It could show up as, like we feel lazy. There's a cause and effect linked between our mental, physical, and emotional struggles and how we are motivated in those areas. So we have to be clear on whether or not this is a one-time occurrence or if there's a pattern that's starting to develop, depending on what the subject of your motivation is, okay? So we're going to cover a few key points, but first I have a question. And if you want to quickly answer in the chat box, I want to see what your answers are, and I'm going to open that up now. I want to ask you a question. How does a lack of motivation show up for you? Okay. How does a lack of motivation show up for you? Lack of energy. Yeah, that's great. Anyone else? Procrastination. Yep. That's my biggest one. For me, it shows up like as procrastination, lots of sleep. Okay. Yeah, procrastination. Yes. That's the biggest one. Anyone else? Sometimes it's like just doing the bare minimum, like what is expected of you. Procrastination, not being able to study well. Yeah, those are really very, very common. Procrastination seems to be the front runner here. And for me, that's how it shows up. Feeling overwhelmed, that's another good one. Procrastination can lead to an overwhelming sense that I can't get anything done. There's too much to do. There's a lot that happens. Okay, so all of these are very closely connected. Like I said, lack of motivation shows up as procrastination for me, but I have some hacks and I have tried these myself and they work, and we're going to talk about that. Okay, so the first area I want to talk about is identifying the areas of your life where you feel like you have lost your motivation. Okay, so first and foremost, we need to have an honest look at the very specific areas where you feel like you are most likely to procrastinate, where you feel lazy, or what's causing you to feel anxious, overwhelmed, stressed out. Okay, it's important to do this from a place of compassion and not of self-judgment. Okay, don't put blame on yourself if you are starting to feel that sense of lack of motivation, procrastination, overwhelm, however that shows up for you. When you can identify where the resistance is coming from, it makes it a lot easier to focus on what you can work on and redirecting your energy to where it's needed. Okay, because sometimes we make the mistake that we have to fix all of the things, when really, if we pinpoint it to one specific area, or maybe there's two, then you can direct your energy there, and you're not going to feel that sense of overwhelm through everything else that you need to do and juggling life. Okay, if you are setting unrealistic expectations of yourself and maybe setting the bar too high without getting deep into the why behind your intentions, then that can actually become more counterproductive than doing you any good. Okay. Also, taking a step back to reevaluate the areas that you feel like you need to focus on can be a really good start of a new and a fresh perspective and outlook. Okay. And you need to break it down as simple as you can. So I'm going to use an example here. So let's say you're not as inclined to put in the hours that you need to for work or studying. Trying to pinpoint exactly where the resistance is. Is it the nature of the work? Is it because you feel too overwhelmed? Try and, like I said, try and focus in and pinpoint it as best as you can, so you can understand what the bottom line reasons are behind the resistance. That will allow you to put your attention into finding ways that will work for you to remain on task and focused. All right. So again, just reiterating what I just said here, get to the bottom of it. pinpoint exactly where you're finding the resistance or the lack of motivation, so you could direct your energy into solving that problem for yourself, to adapting and reevaluating, your intentions and your whys behind any task that you're doing, whether it be school, work, your physical health and wellness, your self-care, whatever that is. Okay. All right. So my next question for you, and you can use the chat again, the Q&A in the bottom to answer this. How often are you connecting in with peers for support or any type of programming or support that's offered through the school? How often do you connect in with your peers or any type of accountability that you have within for yourself, for your program, for any personal goals that you want to achieve? Are you connecting in once a week? Do you connect in once every 2 weeks, monthly, never? Okay, not very often. I don't. Okay, all right. And that's okay. If you're not, then we're going to talk about the benefits of, and one of the key ways to stay motivated and stay productive. Someone wrote not yet. Okay, so you have an intention to do that. That's really good. Okay. So I'll tell you a quick story about sort of my journey, since we're going to go back almost a year now, surprise, surprise, to the beginning of COVID, and sort of how that it destroyed my motivation, it destroyed my productivity, and how I had to recover from that. So like many people, sidetracked, totally had to rethink how I was even conducting my business, and even just having my own personal goals were definitely I was stuck. So what was the best way for me to stay focused, on track, was to have an accountability team. And I do this now. This has really, really taken off for me since the fall. And I focus in on different areas of my life. So I have an accountability for my health and wellness, and I have accountability for my business. Okay, so for my work. Those are the two main areas that I felt, okay, I really need to hone in on this. Right? So we're going to talk about the best way to stay motivated and productive is to have accountability. Okay. So connecting with peers or who are like-minded or who can be a very positive support system to you is probably the most effective way to stay motivated and on track with what you are out to achieve. There's power in numbers, guys. Having your own personal team that you can work with to set small goals and tasks, and that will help to encourage each other when it gets tough to stay focused. Okay. And you set up meetings, set in check-in times on a regular basis so that it becomes something that you look forward to, because you know that you will do what you have set out to do simply because you have to put it out there and you have people that you're checking in with. So here's something that has worked really well for me, and this is just a suggestion. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people can do this together. And what I do with my team for my work is I connect in with other business people. And so for yourself, it could be other students, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be in your program, but just people who are ready to commit to doing what they say they're going to do. And so what we do is every 2 weeks, we get on a Zoom call. And sometimes there's like 2 or 3 of us, and it can be up to 5 or 6, depending on availability. And we say quickly, what am I going to do in this hour and a half? Okay, what is my exact task? And when we check in, okay, after the hour and a half, then we say, okay, I was able to do this, this, and this. You're more likely to do what you set out to do when you say it out loud, when you tell somebody what it is that you're setting out to do, and vice versa, when they have someone reliable such as yourself that will help to encourage them. And like I said, you don't have to be in the same program, in the same classes. It's just a matter of being just staying on task. And it's really fun because you are doing this together. Like, you're not alone. And this is the problem that we're facing right now, is that we feel so isolated because we don't have our normal networking groups, peers, classes. For me, it's, even just being in relation with people that I work with. It's tough because we're isolated. Okay. So don't get too caught up in the busy work, but rather focus on the harder tasks. Start small, okay? If you focus on those things that you feel like you have resistance on, then you get it done. You just need to start small. And where people get frustrated is because they're looking at the whole picture, the big picture, okay? The giant mountain that is right in front of you, instead of the clear trail that is directly there available for you to reach the top of that mountain. Okay, so I just want you to have that visual for a moment. Imagine you are standing at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains and you're looking up, and that is your task. That is school, that is work, that is all of these things that you have going on in your life that is causing you to feel a little bit like, oh my gosh, sometimes we need to take the attention off of the mountain and just look at the path, look at the trail. Okay. So if you know that you have major deadlines coming up, focus on what you need to work on first, and then break it down into smaller, manageable chunks that will ultimately get you to the top of that mountain. It's a step by step. Okay. Have a plan, have small actionable steps, and tell yourself and your accountability team what you are setting out to do, and give yourself a deadline and stick to it. Okay. The next point is to find out what really matters to you so that you can begin to rebuild your routine and your habits to support your motivation. Okay. So consider spending some of your time and energy on getting down to what really matters to you in your life. Break it down. Here are some ideas. Okay. So this is a really good opportunity to start a new page, setting new specific goals for yourself that will help improve your willingness to overcome the feeling of being unmotivated. Okay, it's a good opportunity. Sometimes we need to take a step back and just reassess. Okay, we can't always function at the same all the time because we're continuously changing, and so is our environment around us. Another good thing for you to do is to visualize what the outcome is, what the most ideal outcome is for yourself in detail. And sometimes we just need a really good reminder of the life that we want to live in order to spark the joy and excitement again. Okay, so take a few moments, close your eyes, and just visualize what that looks like. And again, make it specific. Visualize what you want to achieve once you finish your program. What is that? What is the next step for you? Like, imagine yourself finishing this program, getting through these tough courses. In your work, in your job, what is the next, how do you visualize yourself working, and how do you want to feel in the process, in your own personal health and wellness? How do you want to feel? Okay. Breaking it down to set out easy intentions for your day that will prioritize what it is that you need to work on. So try to avoid overscheduling or restricting yourself to really firm timelines. It's good to have deadlines when we need to, for example, for yourselves, like if you have projects and anything that requires a deadline. But if you feel like you're overscheduling yourself, okay, and restricting yourself too much, it's time to take a step back and see where you can put a little bit less pressure on yourself. And it's just a matter of reevaluating. And sometimes it's good to do this, once a month even. Okay, let's see how this month went. What were some wins? Where was I struggling? What were the challenges that I faced? So then now I can continue the momentum and just tweak where I need to. Okay. When we make it less about the ultimate results that you want to achieve, but more about the experiences in the journey of getting there, it can make this time more enjoyable. Okay. So it's great to have goals. It's great to have dreams. But like, you know, the analogy with the mountain, sometimes it looks too big to accomplish, right? So we need to just imagine, okay, I know that's where I want to be. And how am I going to experience this journey that I'm on right now getting there? Okay. Because we learn a lot in the experience. We learn a lot about who we are. We learn a lot about what we're capable of. We can break through things like self-doubt. There's some limiting beliefs that you might be challenging yourself to overcome. So again, remember the mountain versus the trail analogy. Stay on your trail, okay? That's going to take you to the top of your mountain. And, you know, the last point about that is be okay with taking some time off. If you notice that your energy levels are low, use that time to nurture yourself and practice self-care and do that guilt-free. Okay. Sometimes we need to pause. We need to take care of ourselves in order to fill the tank to keep going. Okay. And be okay with doing that. Even when you know that you can't produce as well as you would like to, you might have things on your mind. You could be overwhelmed. You could be struggling with something. That's a good opportunity for you to take a step back, nurture your self-care, whether that be journaling, meditating, you know, doing some sort of physical exercise to help you feel like you are taking care of yourself. That often is enough to fuel you up again to keep going. Okay. Which brings me to my next question for you. And type your answers in the chat. Do you have personal interests or hobbies that you incorporate into your daily life? And if you do, what are they? If not, that's okay. We can, you know, hopefully give you some tips and ideas on what you can do to help you sort of incorporate a little bit more you time while you are taking care of all of the things that you have to manage in your life. Okay, so Courtney wrote, I was trying to reading. That's another good one. Does anybody like to do some sort of physical exercise, whether it be yoga, a workout, run, even just going out for a walk? Oh, somebody said painting. That's really good creative energy right there. Painting, skincare, excellent. That's a good way to take care of yourself. Anything else that you can think of? I like to do crochet, but my lack of motivation stops me from doing it. Aha, okay. Cooking, meditation, really, really good stuff here. Yeah, these are really, really great things that you can either do daily. And if you're not sure what's going to work for you, I challenge you to try something and give it a good go. Okay. So there's tons of apps out there, for example, for meditation, which is a really good way to calm the nervous system, especially if you're feeling high anxiety. It doesn't need to be a long time to dedicate to it. As short as 10 minutes can really help to center yourself. And also, you know, something like journaling or going out for a walk, even just stepping outside of your door and just breathing in some fresh air for a few minutes can really help. And so the reason why I asked that question is because your mental and physical health literally should be the foundation for which you will create or improve your habits. Okay. So ensuring that you're getting enough physical activity to fuel your mental health, everything else will start to improve. Okay. One or two things that you can draw upon, that you can put in your toolbox of your self-care practices: reading, being creative, like doing crochet or painting or writing, even whatever that is for you, a physical activity, cooking, anything where you can sort of get lost in yourself is a really good thing to have at your fingertips at any given moment, especially in those times where you feel like there's too much. There is just right now, I am overwhelmed with all of the things that I need to do in different areas of my life. Sometimes when you just take that break for yourself, it's a really good way to center yourself and just to get a little bit focused on your tasks and what it is that you want to do. Before I get into the final point, I do want to just bring in a little bit of encouragement to you, okay? We are often told how we need to do certain things, or we're told that we should be at a certain place in our life, or we're told that we should. All the shoulds are there. And if I can encourage you, sometimes, we need to take that as constructive information, but we really need to be on our own path. And what works for one person may not work for someone else. Especially in a time where we are in the digital era, we are connected socially on our devices. It's hard not to compare ourselves to other people. And I want to just, share with you that what you see online is only a very, very tiny piece of the story. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. People only want us to see the good things, right? The good, encouraging, tasks and goals and all these great things that are going on. But everybody does struggle, and you are your own person. And, the way that you approach these things that are going on in your life is going to be unique to you. So what's working for one person may not be what you need in order to feel your best, to achieve those things that you deeply want for yourself. Okay. You will find your own way. And there's no sense in trying to compare yourself with anybody else, because all it's doing is damaging your self-worth, your self-esteem, your confidence. Okay. I just wanted to put that in there because I hear this a lot from my clients, from, my followers on my social media links, and they find it really hard because they're looking at everybody else around them, and that crushes your motivation. Okay. Stay in your lane, stay on your path, and find people who are going to support you in what you are setting out to do. Okay. All right. Now let's get into the final part today before we go into a Q&A, and we're going to talk about Zoom fatigue. Anybody have it? I do. I'm sure everybody's like, this has been a hot topic in the past several months. And since most everything has been moved online, realistically, there's no way that we can connect to one another by being online. Okay, we can't avoid it. So, the way, until we can get back to having one-on-one connection with people again, this is the way it is. All right. My best advice to offset Zoom fatigue or online fatigue is by incorporating non-digital activity into your life. Okay. So getting back to what we were talking about earlier, self-care practices, being creative, use that as your go-to when you feel like I'm done being online. I know I have to do it, but offsetting it with these small practices. Again, it doesn't need to be a long, 10, 15 minutes, just take a break. Having frequent breaks throughout your day to step away from the computer and to literally give your body and your mind a bit of a break. Go for a walk, do a quick meditation, a breathing exercise, at-home workouts, reading a book, anything to break the digital overload. And it's a great way to refocus when you're ready to get back to what you're doing, okay? And don't be afraid to try something new. Something that holds us back from really giving it our all is fear, okay? Fear of, what if I don't succeed? What if I don't do as well as I hope? All the what ifs that stop us and can be a big motivational crush, okay? It's also crushing your self-confidence, okay? Just try, just do what you need to do in order to take those baby steps on your trail to the top of your mountain, okay? Don't give up on yourself, okay? Adjust when necessary and stick to what works for you. You are unique and you can't do things, that the exact same way as someone else. You will find your own path. You will find your way. You've just got to stay top of mind that these are your goals, what you're setting out to do, and how are you going to support yourself throughout your journey. Okay. Bonnie, is this a good time to open the questions up if anybody has any questions?
Yeah, definitely. So if
Awesome.
anyone has any questions for Carole there is a Q&A tab beside the closed captioning tab on the located along the bottom right hand. So feel free to type in a question and we'll definitely see that there. And then for whatever reason, if you can't see the Q&A, you can also put it in the chat. We're also monitoring that right there. So we'll give everyone a few minutes to put in their questions if they have any. And I guess, Carole, I'll begin with the question first while we give everyone some time to think of. And I was just wondering, just based on like motivation and productivity, is there any studies that are done that like you should try to get everything done in the beginning of the day versus later on in the day? I know that after a long work day, there's so many things I want to do at the end of the day, but I'm just like, all I want to do is just sit on the couch. And then I'm like, oh, next day. Should I try to be getting things done earlier in the day?
Yeah, definitely. So everybody has a different rhythm. Some people are more productive at night and in the evenings than they are in the mornings. I say focus your attention on the harder things when you have the highest amount of energy. So for myself, I have the highest amount of energy early in the day, first thing in the morning. So I capitalize on that. I make sure that my harder tasks are happening in that time because I know that I have the mental capacity and the physical capacity to follow through on that. Follow your rhythm, listen to yourself. And if you feel like the morning is where you feel like you have the best energy levels, do it then because you will push it off. I do it too. I hit a certain point in my day and I'm like, okay, that's when the easier things that I could just quickly check off my list, that's when I do it. Yeah.
That's a great tip because I know that, by 6 p.m., I'm just like, my brain is just
done.
It's just done. Even I want to stretch sometimes and I'm just done for the day. So that's super helpful. Thank you. And I haven't seen any questions come through yet. So I'll keep going on with the conversation. So I know you had said that with Zoom fatigue and all of that, just to stay creative. And I know it's a little bit hard, especially for people who may be in small spaces and such, and they're just around their computer and their TV screen, and it really is hard to turn off. Do you have any suggestions on like how to creating your space to keep you more motivated and encouraged just to push through? Because I know space for me is such a motivator to keep me going as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you want your space to be functional, but also a place where you can find your rest, where you can find your peace and almost like your Zen space, right? So depending on what your workspace is like, and we'll talk about a little bit smaller spaces, it's good to separate and have your workspace somewhere and then have a place where you can shift your focus to being creative or doing other things, even just by having a yoga mat set up somewhere and a book and something that's going to be comfortable for you. Have them be intentional about your space, okay? Because it does affect us, especially when we are locked inside. We don't really have much to do, but if anything, I encourage you just to get outside. If you need that break, get outside. It's easy, it's free, it's there for all of us, and just getting some fresh air and daylight on our bodies, it can really help to switch the mental strain as well.
That's great. And talking about hobbies, incorporating that daily, what would be, you think, like a sufficient amount of time? For example, if someone likes to, paint, or if someone likes to read, are there like chunks of time that we should at least be dedicating to that?
Yeah. Again, it's going to be very unique to each person and what the activity is. So what I personally do is that I dedicate 1 hour to my personal growth and development before I start my day. That includes meditating, journaling, reading a chapter of a really good book that I'm into, anything that's going to be focused just on me. And then I follow that up with some form of physical activity. Some people need the break in the middle of their day, anything from 10 to 30 minutes is a really good guideline, I'd say, just because it's enough time that it breaks the patterns that you were in before, and it helps you to relax a little bit, to de-stress, and then move on to the next important task that you have to achieve that day.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I know, there's a question here in the Q&A, and I'll just read it out for everyone. Would you give any advice to overcome laziness and lacking of self-discipline? It's the first time for me to take an online course.
Okay. So it can be a very challenging time to overcome that. And I want you to allow yourself the opportunity to change the language around that, okay? As I mentioned earlier, when we're putting the self-blame on, we're making ourselves small in that. And the way to overcome that is by giving yourself one small thing that you can do to just start, okay? Even if you put a timer on your phone, okay? I'm going to dedicate 15 minutes to this task that I need to do, okay? 15 minutes, that's all that you are responsible for. And rest assured, you will push past that 15 minutes. The hardest part about getting motivated is starting. It's the hardest part. It's starting. So I've done this in the past. I've tried it. It's actually worked. I put a timer on. Okay, I'm only doing this for 10 minutes because that's all I feel I can give it. And an hour goes by and I'm like, wow. I ignored the timer. I just kept going. Just start. All right. I hope that helps. And like I said, setting a timer or a little reminder, or another way you could do that too is by giving yourself an incentive. Okay. A personal incentive. If I finish this task, I'm going to treat myself to my favorite coffee, whatever that is. Okay. I hope that helps.
I love that. Just starting. I'm just gonna keep that in the back of my mind.
Just start. That's all you're responsible for.
And we have a few more questions here. And the next one is, how do I manage the stress for keeping motivation? So for example, I get stressed out when I'm looking at grades, and I get nervous when I'm doing something that I've never tried.
Okay. So again, try and pull it back a little bit and keep it minimal. Okay. So I understand that grades are so important, and it's pounded into us that we have to achieve, that we have to be at a certain level. And that's a good motivator in one aspect, but it can also crush our motivation. So again, pull it down a little bit and just make it small steps, small baby steps to overcome the anxiety, and almost put them into little boxes. Okay. Focus on this box right now. And because I am a dreamer, I think a lot, and I have a million things on my I want to do list, but I really have to focus in one thing at a time. Keep it small, attainable, achievable things, small steps. Baby steps will take you further ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. And the next question that we have is, as everything now is online, college classes, studying, do you suggest getting college books as e-text or actual paper books? Will reducing screen time help me with my productivity, or does it matter?
Well, it can. It does have an impact. And again, whether you do digital or whether you have a physical, that's a personal choice. So for me personally, I am hands-on. I need the book in front of me. I need the pages in front of me. That's the best way that I learn. And that's the best way that I stay motivated. Plus, it's portable. You can take it to wherever you want. You don't have to be staying on a screen, right? If you want to curl up on the couch to read and catch up on your studies, I know you could bring your Chromebook or your laptop with you, or your phone, but sometimes having that digital break, taking your eyes off the screen, will it helps tremendously. So again, it's personal preference. Some people learn better when they're on digital. I am a combination of both, but when it comes to reading and working and studying, I need it right in front of me. So It's really personal preference in that aspect.
Perfect. Thanks, Carole. And if you have any more questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A, and then I'll continue on with another question that I do that is top of mind. I know that one of the words that keeps coming up is meditation and meditating. For someone who may have not really dived into that before, what does meditating actually mean, or what does that actually encompass? Because I know that it's talked about, we hear it a lot, especially on the internet, on Instagram, people use that word, but what does meditation mean, or to you?
Yeah, so simply put, it's just refocusing and to center yourself. Okay, it's clearing out the noise. It's quieting the voices. Okay, the information that's coming out at us, and your voice inside your head. So really, there's a lot of different ways that you can meditate, but primarily, and there's so much emphasis, we feel like we have to be experts at it once we dive into it. So that tends to be something that people are afraid of trying. But really, the one key thing that you're doing is you're focusing on your breath. You're getting your central nervous system to a calm space, to a place where your heart rate can come down, your anxiety levels can come down, and it helps you to refocus. Some people use meditation to pray, time to pray, or if, just to send up, whatever your belief systems are, that's a good time for it. But for me, it's just bringing my attention and my focus to my breathing and to help clear my mind space. And it helps to, again, just remove the noise. For anybody who has never tried it, you've heard of it, it might be a little bit too woo-woo. It doesn't need to be that way. Simple guided meditations that you can try out, like on Headspace or app called Calm. Those two apps are really, really good for beginners, and it helps to walk you through it and to also get the most out of it. And then, meditation is a muscle that you build over time. But it's definitely one of my go-tos for just, stepping out from the overwhelm, from the stress, from the anxiety for 10 minutes, centering myself, and then I can come back to have a bit more clear focus on what I want to do.
I love that. And I love what you just said there, that meditation is a muscle that you build. Like I never even, that didn't even click in before. So
Yeah.
definitely another thing that I'm keeping in mind today.
Yeah.
Another question, Carole, that's come in is, do you have any advice on reducing stress and anxiety when becoming overwhelmed with everything? I have the tendency to shut down when I have too many things going on, which then my productivity and motivation is just gone.
Yeah, that is very, very common. You're not alone in that. And that's an excellent question. So again, it's really having your arsenal, your toolbox of go-tos that is strictly about you. All right. So we're not machines. We can't run like a machine all day long. There's a lot of expectation that can be put on us in your work, in your school, in your personal life. And if we don't have a safe and healthy way of releasing that stress and anxiety, it's only going to build up to the point of complete burnout. Right? So you need to keep yourself top of mind. Again, having those small things that you could do for yourself. And if anything, it's just getting out for a walk. Just anything that's going to take your focus off of the task at hand and to replenish your energy, to give you focus, is going to benefit you in the long run. The problem with high anxiety, stress, overwhelm, having too much is that we have tunnel vision. Okay, we can't see the big picture. And that's where a lot of people run into trouble. They have an overwhelming sense of pressure to be and do everything at their optimal. But if you are not nurturing yourself, you can't run at your optimal. So again, to find those things that you're able to do for yourself, even if it's small increments a few times a day, will go a long way and to save you from burnout. And take those moments, as I mentioned earlier, to reevaluate your situation. Okay, take a step back. Look at the big picture. Why are you doing certain things? Why are you, what is the biggest impact that you want to have in your life? And do that on a regular basis, okay? Because as you grow and change and learn and adapt, your interests will change. Your reasons for doing certain things will change, and you will find more clarity in the end as well.
Perfect. That's great. And I know we've been talking a lot about just staying active and just being healthy to keep you motivated and such. Do you feel, and I do apologize if this is out of left field, but I'm super interested in that as well, just in terms of diet as well. Do you find that diet has a big impact? And especially I know for a lot of our students that, they're just beginning to get into their own routine and such. And is diet something even to consider when we're talking about motivation and productivity?
Absolutely. How you fuel yourself is a big one. It's a big component. So again, it's as much as you can. Eating whole foods is the best way to go. Okay. Now, sometimes there's a lot to learn in that, and find the resources that are going to help you build your nutritional habits. And to stay as healthy as you can, okay? Especially now, we're not out and about as much as we're used to. We're not moving as much as we're used to. We're hearing, the COVID-15, where people are gaining 15 pounds because they're, there's so much happening, but we have a lot of control in what we do for ourselves. So I know for myself personally, I feel my best when I'm hydrated. Okay, drink the water, even if it's soda water or something, that's a bit flavored or whatever. Stay hydrated and eat as much whole foods as you can. For me, it's important because I feel better and my body doesn't react in strange ways if I eat like junk food or too much garbage. Not to say that you can't indulge every once in a while, but the 80-20 rule is kind of the thing that I tell people to follow. 80% of the time you're doing your best in terms of your activity and your nutrition and your hydration. And the other 20% is life that you could enjoy, and enjoy it guilt-free.
Perfect. I loved that. And I know that for people to stay motivated and you had talked about easy wins or small steps. Do you even just, for everyone that's attending today, do you just have one small easy win that perhaps you could suggest for everyone? Because sometimes it's just, trying to figure out what habits are good for you, trying to figure out what's something that everyone that in attendance today could just be an easy win for us to, kind of keep us motivated, especially today being the first day of our semester. What could be an easy win that you could suggest to all of us today?
Showing up. You showed up, you're here, right? That's a win. And we often think of wins as these big monumental achievements that we have to, that we have to do in our daily life. And that's not the case. It's showing up. It's being active. It's being attentive. It's being, a small win can be, I got through this course and, today, and I got through my workload. And I feel really proud about that. I got through it. I got up half an hour earlier than I normally would have. That's another good thing. Another good routine is just to try waking up a little bit earlier every day and enjoying your morning before your day gets started. Okay? You can incorporate a lot of things in there too.
Perfect. Thanks, Carole. And I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but I find an easy win for myself is just when you said waking up early, just making your bed. I find that just having that quick little, check mark, like I did something productive today.
Right.
It really does change your attitude. Yeah. And I really encourage everyone to find just an easy win for yourself. And Carole, you've already put a big smile on my face by just tuning in today. Yeah. So I hope that everyone else does so as well. We do have a few more minutes for questions. I hope I didn't bombard the chat with too many questions for Carole myself, but if anyone else, we have a few more questions. So feel free to use the Q&A tab or to put it in the chat. I'll give everyone a minute or so there, but great questions and great discussions. I feel like that everyone's brought forth, and I'll just give it a couple more seconds here.
Yeah, even if what's your takeaway from today too? Like if there's one thing that you want to start implementing or one thing that you really, that struck you today, what was that? Like, I'd love to hear your feedback on that too. And feel free to reach out to me at any point too. Like, you know, you can find me online on Instagram, Facebook, my website. It's a good way to connect in with me because sometimes it's, you know, we don't want to ask questions maybe in front of other people, but if you have questions for me directly, please feel free to reach out. I have tons of resources, free content, all kinds of stuff. So join me on my socials, and I'd be happy to chat with you a little bit further.
Perfect. And for everyone's reference, I have put all of Carole's social in the chat there. So feel free to connect with her through any of those accounts. And before I close, Carole, I loved it what you said about the takeaway. So should we open up the chat? And if everyone could just type in one takeaway that they had from today's session, it'd be really interesting to hear what people thought of the session today. So I'll work on my response as well. So if everyone open up your chat, and what's one takeaway that you got out of the session today?
Yeah.
So I'll give everyone a second to type in their answer, and then we can all submit it on the count of maybe 5.
Small steps. Yeah, that's a good one. Just baby steps. Baby steps will take you further, and celebrate those small baby steps. To you, they might not feel like much, but in the grand scheme of things, they are huge. And I like to do weekly reviews. Weekly reviews is important. You know, share those wins with somebody and listen to somebody else's wins too. Get into accountability with someone. Better diet. Yeah.
That's a big one for me. So
yeah. Oh, it's incredible what happens when you just change one small thing. Like just make those little adjustments to your nutrition, and it can go a long way. Maybe this. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, drink water. Yeah, focus on the path instead of the mountain. Yay. That's good. Find something that works for you and have, yeah, that's great. Yeah, good. Guys, you're doing your best. Congratulations on starting this winter semester. All the best to you. And remember just to stay into your true north. You're doing an amazing job. And I'm so happy to have been here today to share all this with you.
And thank you, Carole, for all of the useful information you shared today and leading us through all these helpful points. I know it went from everywhere from diet to, I'm like, there was just so many topics that we covered here today. Yeah. So on behalf of Algonquin, we all want to give you a big thank you. And to all of our participants today, thank you for tuning in to one of the sessions for AC Day 1. And before we close, we actually have a very special member joining us in the session today. We have Algonquin's Executive Team Vice President of Student Services, Laura Stambra here. And I'm going to call upon Laura to say a few words.
Hi, can you hear me? I don't know if, can you hear me, Bonnie?
Great. Yeah, perfect.
It's from my phone. I had some technical issues, so wasn't sure. I haven't done this from my phone yet. So, I'm really sad I had technical issues because I was enjoying these last few minutes, and really the importance of being motivated and organized, I think, is so important for our first day here. And so, thank you, Carole, for that. I'm going to go check out your website as well. I mean, that's always something that's important to me to keep on top of motivation for sure. And for our students, just want to say big hello. Thank you so much. Thank you for choosing Algonquin. We know you have a lot of choices out there, and I hope today's session is just a glimpse, an indication of the types of different support and activity you can get, even though it's a really different semester that we all know and that we would prefer to be face to face. But if we're not, we're really looking to be as creative and engage you as best as we can in this new world we're living in right now. But one of the things I did want to tell you was that, I've worked in post-secondary education all my life. And what I can tell you is post-secondary education changes lives. And that the time that you're investing in yourself to do your education will only enrich and make your life better. You'll have more choices, more opportunities, you'll be more independent. And so, while the road there sometimes is not easy and it's a lot of work, it can still be extremely rewarding while you're going through that path. And I encourage you just to take it, as Carole was saying, look at the path, not the mountain ahead. Take it a step at a time, and know that we are here to support you through that journey every step of the way. So what I would encourage you is, if you're having any need any help, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for. In Student Support Services, our motto is here to help, and we really are here to help you. I know on the academic side of the house, your faculty, your program coordinators, your student success specialists, they're all there and wanting and willing to help you. So enjoy, have fun, connect as much as you can in this virtual world. Work hard, but don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, I just want to say, have a wonderful semester. Thank you. Take advantage of other things that are offered today. It's a great schedule of activity. And we all look forward to, hopefully, when it's safe, seeing you safe back on campus. Take care.
Thanks, Laura. And thanks again to everyone. Big shout out. Thank you, Carole, again. And as Laura mentioned, feel free to tune in to all the amazing AC Day 1 programming that's left for the day. So thank you so much for taking the small step and tuning in today. And that's a big win for all of us here attending. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day. And it's been a great time, and hope to see all of you in the afternoon. So thanks, everyone. Feel free to log off now. I'll be ending this session very shortly. Bye.